Okay, we're gonna learn the Rashis in this lesson. This is Mishnah 2, lesson 4, and we did the Rashi on the other page. Basically, all the Rashis in summary is just explaining the Machlekes Rav and Shmuel, and we're talking about a bar, a pit, and we'll see how all of this works out. There's two Machlekes in. The first Rashi is Aval, and it starts right there. Let's see. Aval, hu atzmai. But if he himself is damaged, then the din is pater. The owner of the water would be pater. And the reason why is because he didn't get damaged by the water, rather he got damaged by the ground. And the reason for that is, why is he pater getting damaged by the ground? Because karka oilam, which means plain ground, and oilam, Rashi is saying shein la ba'alim, that it doesn't have owners. So ba'alim means owners. And I just want to add in over here in this pater that it's referring to pater, the water owner is pater. Don't think hu atzmai pater, he himself is pater. No, don't read it like that. Hu atzmai pater, the water owner will be pater. And the reason is because karka olam, because the ground which does not have owners, hizikase caused him damage. Umamayne shel zeh, in this person's money. I'll just make money as a dollar sign. Mayne shel zeh, this person's money, which is the water. I'll add that in. Water, I'll put that in parentheses. Grama ba'alma avidlei. Avidlei means did to him. Did, and lay is to him. And grama means a cause. Ba'alma means plain. A plain cause was the water. The water did to him. The water was just a plain grama. Grama is an expression, which means that it was indirect damage. It's not that the water actually caused the damage. The water caused that he should fall and get hit on the ground. Now, and we said already the ground is karka oilam. Rav letamei, and Rav goes according to his reasoning or to his explanation. The Amar that says lekaman further on, the Amar lekaman that says further on, bar shechayvel of Torah, the bar that the Torah says you're chayev on it. Lahavlai is for air or bad air, which we translated before suffocation. Loy lachabate, and not for the impact. So in other words, even in a pit that you actually dug, nevertheless, you won't be chayev for the ground because that ground, it's not because you don't own it, actually. It's more because the ground you didn't put there, as you're going to see. Rav doesn't mind, really, that you don't own it in order to be chayev as a bar. You don't have to own it to be chayev as a bar. On the contrary, if you own it, then it's not a bar, it's a shar. The real concern here is that you didn't put it there. The only reason why we went through this issue of karka oilam is to tell me that it's not a shar. That's the main thing. So in other words, if you take it as two steps, first of all, let's do step one. I'll write this over here. Let's see. Step one, it's a bar and not a shar. And that is told to me by karka oilam. Karka oilam means if you don't own it, then it's a bar, not a shar. And step two is that you're only chayev in a bar for hevel veloy chabata, and not for the impact. So once I know it's a bar, then you're going to be pater. Okay. Now it says mi boirei lamadnu. This is now we've jumped from Rav's explanation to the question that Shmuel has. Shmuel says, 1 second, how do I know that a stumbling block in the Rishus Rabbim is considered a damage? I only know that from bar. Mi bar lamandum beperakama. That's an abbreviation. I'll put that in. Perak kama. Kama means first, like Baba Kama. Baba means actually a gate, first gate. But this is perakama in the first perak on Davav on Davav. Okay. Shar v'le adam chamar v'le kelim. And I learned that it's a shar, only a shar v'le adam, and not a man. If a shar falls into a pit, you're going to be chayev. Chamar, only a chamar v'le kelim, but not vessels. He's asking that why should you be chayev on the clothing? Your pater on clothing. It says v'hani mili. Hani is these. And mili is words. These words. Hecha is where. The mesa adam. That's only if the person died. Dikra, the dalid means because, but I want to put in, I'll do that over here, all right? Because, I'll make a line over there. Because kra means the pasuk. B'misa mishta a is speaking about or referring to, mishta will put in as referring. Referring to death. Misa means death. The pasuk is referring to death. Now, how do I know that, Diksiv? Because it says in the pasuk, "V'hamesi elai." Mesa means the carcass will belong to him. Carcass. Yelai will be to him. Aval benezek adam, but referring to damages of a man. In other words, just damages. We'll do that as injuries. Nezek adam with injuries. As opposed to death, then chayav balabar. Then the balabar will be chayav. The reason is dekra, because again, the pasuk, just like we had over there, dekra, same word. Mikaifer mimatinan. Mimatinan means excludes. And it excludes it from kaifer. Kaifer is the type of payment that if an ox kills a man, obviously the owner of the ox doesn't get the death penalty because he didn't kill the man. It was his money that killed the man. But nevertheless, he has to pay a type of payment called kaifer to the family of the deceased, the dead of the person that died. But he only has to pay that if his ox kills and not if his bar kills a man. By the way, the ox also gets put to death. But in this instance, you because it's a bar, you are putter from paying for the death. What are you putter from? You're putter from paying koifer. Now that's koifer is only when there's death. That's not when there's injuries. Okay, so injuries for a person you're going to have to pay, but you don't have to pay for actual death. And we're going to see if the same thing would apply to vessels. We know for a person it says shar v'lei adam, but what about chamar v'lei kalim? We said shar v'lei adam is only by death. That a person dies, you're going to be pater, but injuries you'll still be chayev. Now the Rashi goes on, it says v'kalim peturim. The Gemara says kalim peturim, that you're pater on kalim al nizke kalim, for nizke kalim, for damages of kalim. That would be corresponding to injuries by man. Nevertheless, pater balabar. The balabar is still pater. And the reason is dishvirasan, because they're breaking. Zuhi misasan, this is their death. I think what Rashi means, it's a Gemara, that there's no such thing as injuries to kalim. Once there's the slightest break on it, it's over. It's dead. A person can get a scratch and recover. It's just injured. But kalim, automatically it's considered their death, and therefore for death you're going to be pater. A bar is only chayev for shar, the death of a shar and the chamar, the death of an ox and a donkey. Masnisin nami, in our Mishnah also, meimav, his water, bayrehu, is his bar, is his pit. Okay, hilkach, and therefore, ki chayev. When is he chayev? Al nizke kalim. I'm sorry. Al nizke haguf chayev v'lei ala kalim. He's only chayev for injuries to the body, which we'll call that injuries. V'lei ala kalim, but not on kalim, not on clothing. Okay, and this is Shmuel's opinion that you should be really putter on the clothing and chayev for the injuries to the body. Now the Gemara goes on and says v'rav. However, Rav. Hani Mili, that's an abbreviation for Hani Mili, which I actually translated up here. So, should I make an arrow? Yeah, I'll make an arrow. Show you where we had it before. Whoa. Hani Mili, these words. Ditakalase lamadnu mi bayrai, that his takala is a stumbling block, like a michshal. Put down stumbling. Stumbling, lamando is we learn. Mibayre from bar. It was just like if he would dig a pit, he would be chayev. So also if he puts his stumbling block, he's chayev as if it would be a pit. That's only the afkarina where he made it hefker. Write down owner less. It's got to go together. Owner less. It's one word. Ownerless. Key bar, just like a bar. just like a bar is ownerless, so also if you make your stumbling block, for example, your water, ownerless, that would be considered a bar. Desava Rav, because Rav holds, bar shechayv alav Torah. When did the Torah say you're chayav on a bar? That's behifker reshusay ubayroi. That's if you were mafker your property and the bar. Notice, let's say you have a little piece of property over here. That's your field. You plant in it or whatever. Comes along one day, you decide I'm going to make it into. I'm going to dig a hole right here. Now you dug a hole. Okay, and then what you did was you were mafkir your rishus. So you made the whole thing ownerless. Let's say you kept the pit. So Rav would say, oh, if you kept the pit, then if that pit causes damage, so then that's going to be a shar in a Rishus Harabim. In other words, this thing now became a Rishus Harabim because you made it ownerless, and everyone can walk there. It used to be a Rishus Hayachid, so that the laws of Bar wouldn't apply, because what's the person doing there, unless it's so close to the Rishus Harabim that someone could actually like slide in off the street. But if it's in the center, so if you made it ownerless, then you would be chayiv. The question is, what is he chayav for? Is he chayav for bar or shar? So if he made it entirely ownerless, Rav says behifker rishusei ubayrai, that's considered the bar that the Torah is talking about. Who the chayavte? That's when the Torah says you're chayav. Aval lo yafkerinu, but if he didn't make it hefker memaynayhu, then it's his money. I'll add that in again. I noticed that the boys were getting mixed up between meimav and memaynay. It's similar words, but the nun. I guess if you can remember the word money, that's more similar to mamain. The an over there, money, mamain. And meimav is like the word mayim, so it's his water. So aval yafkerinu mamainahu, but if he doesn't make it ownerless, then it's considered his money, and if it's his money, then he's responsible to guard his money from causing damage. And mishari lamadnu, and that we learned from Shar. Hilkach, therefore, tin of keli, when his kalim get dirty, or when his clothing get dirty. Tinuf meant dirt, right? Or dirty. Keli, clothing. Mimaynai de mazik avad. It's the money of the mazik. Mazik is the perpetrator, the one that caused the damage. That's the person. I'll make a picture of a person over here, and there's the mazik and the nizik. The mazik is the one that causes the damage, and the nizik is the victim. So memayne de mazik avad. It's the money of the mazik that caused the damage, and therefore you're going to be chayiv if you still own it. If it's loy afkarino. Clear that this is the case of loy afkarino, right? You got to put those together. Loy afkarino. Okay. Aval nezek haguf. But even in that case, where he owns it, for example, he owns the water, but aval nezek haguf, but if the body gets damaged or injured, then karka oilam avda, then that's the ground that caused the damage. Rashi is just making a simple difference, that people don't get damaged by water, they get damaged by the ground. In the ground, he didn't put there. Okay, so according to Rav, if you own it, then you're going to be chayiv because it's a shar. If you don't own it, then you may be chayiv because of a bar only if you put it there. Shmuel savar, but Shmuel holds behifker rishusay v'lei hifker bayrai, where you were mafker the rishus v'lei hifker bayrai, but you were not mafker the bar. For example, in this case, you're only mafker the outside, but not the bar. Nami mishtayikra. The pasuk is also talking about that. Mishtay, as we said, is referring to upater bayas kalim, and therefore you would be pater on kalim. So, for example, in the case of the water, where you were not mafkir the water, even if you own that water, you would still be chayev as a bar, not as a shor, like Rav would say. Rather, you'd be chayev as a bar. That's Shmuel's opinion. Let's underline that. We changed opinions now in the middle of this Rashi. That hifker reshusay v'lei hifker bayra. If you own that center, you're only mafker everything else. That's still going to be a bar. Upater bayas kalim, and therefore you'd be pater on kalim. Hilkach mas nisin, therefore our Mishna. Let's say Mishna. Afal gav, even though the loyafkerinu, that he did not make the water ownerless, bayrai havi, it is his bar. Umay diktani, And what we learned, or what it taught, my diktani, and what it taught. Chayev, that you're chayev, let's make this into quotes. That's behezek gufay kamairi. It is referring to, or is talking about hezek gufay. That means injuries. According to Shmuel, if it's a bar, the only thing you could be chayav on is injuries to the body. But kalim, v'loy bekalev, but not with clothing, because if it's a bar, you're pater on kalim. You're chayav for injuries to a person, but you're pater on kalim. Ve'afal gav the karka olam of delay, and even though it was done to him, of delay it was done to him, or it of the karka olam means plain ground of delay did it to him, chayev, he's still chayev. Why? Shmuel etamei, Shmuel goes according to his reasoning, Kaman, that he says later on, bar shechayvel of Torah, when does the Torah say that you're chayev? On a bar, that's lahavloi, that's for the ear, v'kol shkein, let me add that in, v'kol shkein, that means kal v'chaymer, and all the more so, lechabatai, for the bang. V'afagav the karka olam aska say, even though it was plain ground that caused him the damage. So in other words, there's a machlokes between Rav and Shmuel concerning if a person would be chayiv on the impact from the bar. Even though you didn't put the ground there, but according to Shmuel, you'd still be chayiv for the impact. But according to Rav, you would be pater for the impact. Okay, these are all the Rashis on this Gemara. Except the first Rashi was at the end of lesson 3. Okay.